How's it going? How's it going? It's Big Dogs on campus. And hey, he's gonna be rocking with me today. Hopefully we can get somebody on, but uh the other big dogs, they got some stuff to come up. But hey, we still gonna rock it out. It's week 1. Hey, nothing but absolute madness in the last couple days. Week 1 is finally here. And I'm gonna start us off with a good one. I'm gonna start us off with a big bang. Old Dominion and Virginia Tech. Old Dominion took it 20-17. Hey, if you bet on Old Dominion last night, they made you a lot of money. Because I'm not really a betting man, but hey, I would have put my money on Virginia Tech. I'm not gonna lie. But hey, just want to say happy Saturday to y'all. And week 1, baby, week 1. Big dogs on campus. Week 1. This is what we've all been waiting for months. For months. And I don't know about y'all, but let me let me get the shirt out. As an LSU fan, I still got one more day till we play, but hey, week 1, and we got some big games today. Saturday, September 3rd, we got Oregon and Georgia. We got Cincinnati and Arkansas. We got Utah and Florida. Like, come on. We got some really big games today. And then you got Texas A&M playing Sam Houston. Exactly. A nobody. But hey, we can start it off with Oregon and Georgia. Dan Lanning's going to be coming back to Georgia after coming off a national championship with Kirby Smart. Um, me and Big Dog Shane were talking about this the other day. Uh, I don't know. I think Oregon comes in and steals it because they have an amazing defense. Uh, they have a great linebacker duo that I would put high up in the nation. Uh, Panay Sewell's little brother and Justin Flo. Now let's remember, Oregon already had a great defense last year, and Justin Flo was injured. He wasn't even there. And if you're a college football fanatic, I would hope you know who Justin Flo is. He was highly recruited out of high school. He's an absolute monster. He's built like a tank, and his fast athleticism is uncanny. It's crazy. Um, and with that, I feel like mixing that with Dan Lanning's great defensive mind, I feel like that's going to be huge in this game against Georgia because Georgia lost a lot. They lost 5 or 6 people on defense. They lost Jermaine Burton, George Pickens on offense. They lost Cortez Hankston, their wide receiver coach. They lost their OC, their DC. Kirby has to show me that he can reload. They have the talent, yes. I'm not taking that. I'm not knocking that from him at all. They have the talent, but I don't think it's going to be the same Georgia team from that national championship. Um, Now I do think it's a close one. I think that Georgia coming down, Oregon coming down, excuse me, is the benefactor because nobody travels like Georgia, and I know it's going to be in Georgia, but I feel like they're going to fill up that stadium the most. And man, I to give you a score, I would have to say 35-28 Oregon. I'll say that. Now, I hope I'm wrong just because I'm an SEC guy, but I also hate Georgia. So, um we can go right into so many great games. Cincinnati and Arkansas. So, it's another one, man. Big Dog Shane talked about. Cincinnati's coming off of one of their best seasons in a long time, but they don't have Denbrock no more. Um, that's huge for their offense. That's a huge blow for them. They did get in transfer Corey Connor from LSU, so I guess you could say we got the coach, they got the running back, and Corey Connor's a very, very agile, quick running back, and he's from Cincinnati. So I mean, it's pretty cool seeing the guy go back and play for his hometown. What's up, Key? What's up, Key? It's always great seeing guys go back and play for their hometowns. I mean, it's always cool. It kind of sucked because he's going from like a school like LSU to Cincinnati, but hopefully he shines. Now Arkansas is Arkansas. They had their best season last year since Ryan Mallett was there. KJ Jefferson's their best quarterback, since Ryan Mallett. He's a big body. He's really used exactly how Arkansas needs him to be used. And he's not the best. He makes some questionable plays sometimes, but like I said, he's a big body, and Arkansas really uses him in their offensive scheme, and it seems to work. But I do think Arkansas is a flash in the pan. But I do have them taking the game against Cincinnati. I would have to say I'll say 31-14. I'll say 31-14. Arkansas takes it. All right. How y'all doing? Just let's bring in some interesting one, because Saturday, man, we got games crazy. Now here's one. Here's a very interesting one. Utah and Florida. Utah coming off last 2 seasons, they've done very well. Excuse me, 3. I apologize. Round 3 at most. Now they're coming down to Florida. They're going to be playing in Gainesville, and I mean, if you're an SEC fan, you got to know playing in the swamp is not the easiest. I'm not going to say it's the most intimidating stadium. I'm not saying that at all, but it's not easy at all. Coming down, Utah is going to have that disadvantage from the amount of fans and the atmosphere in Gainesville. But you got to take into consideration that they have played in Oregon Stadium. That stadium can get crazy. It can get loud. Oregon fans are very animated, but I feel like the humidity, the craziness, just how loud it gets in Gainesville in the swamp, I feel like that's going to be a huge factor against Utah in this Florida game. And but then again, I'm not confident in Anthony Richardson. I'm not confident in Florida. And Billy Napier, this is going to be his first time coaching Florida. It's going to be his first game in. And I feel like he needs this game to get on the right path for his career at Florida. I think he needs this game to be able to show people like, okay, maybe he knows what he's doing. Do I think it's a really close one? Yes. Do I think Utah has a better chance of pulling it out? I do. I think it's truly going to be a toss up. I think it's just going to come down to how you doing, Freddie? I think it comes down to if Utah travels or not. It's gonna come down to what's up, Big Dog Shane? I truly feel it comes down to the atmosphere in Gainesville. If I'm not sure if Utah travels. As you know, SEC travels, and living in Florida now, man, you see Florida fans literally everywhere. I'm in Central Florida. Gainesville is 3 hours away from me, and man, it's crazy. Um, that swamp is no joke. We've seen it. We've seen teams come in and out of there, and just they're they're depleted. But if I have to go, man, I would have to say 28-17. Give me Florida. I've the more I've been thinking about it, playing the SEC is not easy. Um, and Utah, they've been cocky the last couple seasons. They've been good. I'll give you that. They have been good. They've been cocky, but that swamp is no joke. The swamp is no joke. Um, let's go. I would talk about Alabama, but they're playing Utah State. Exactly. The only reason I know who Utah State is because that's where Jordan Love went. That's it. Here we go. I think my favorite game of the day. Number 5, Notre Dame. Number 2, Ohio State. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear this here. You are going to hear this right now from me first. I truly feel like Ohio State is about to go in here and put it on Notre Dame. I'm not taking any. Oh, hold on. If they drop 40, I might have to give me a Utah jersey. I might have to. Uh, I think, man, I think Utah puts it on them. I mean, Ohio State. My apologies. I think Ohio State puts it on them. I'm not taking any discredit from Marcus Freeman. He's a great mind. He's a great defensive mind. Me and Big Dog Shane really wanted him in down in Baton Rouge, but hey, man, that game they had against Oklahoma State in the bowl game, they blew that lead. And I understand Oklahoma State had a great season last year, but what they just had a game and it was like incredibly, if I'm not mistaken, like it was a lot closer than what should have been expected. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Oh yeah, Central Michigan. They only beat Central Michigan 58-44, and that's the same Oklahoma State team. Now they've lost a corner. He came Bernard Converse, if I'm not mistaken. I know Shane will probably correct me if I'm messing his name up, but I mean, you're telling me Notre Dame can loses to that team, but can be number 5? That just doesn't make any sense to me. I think that CJ Stroud, excuse me, I lost my train of thought for a second. I think CJ Stroud really shines tonight. Their offense is so explosive. Their offense is so fast, agile. Like it's insane. I really think that Ohio State comes in and wins by at least 21. Minimum 21. And I feel like that's being lenient with it too. Maybe I'm just being a little biased, because I really cannot stand them at all. I cannot stand Notre Dame, but Ohio State's not a at all. Okay, now let's get into Sunday. My favorite day, obviously. Florida State and LSU. Okay, both teams unranked. Both teams have had some bad couple years. LSU coming off the championship in 19, and then COVID hit. We did horrible. Coach O brought in Bo Pelini. Terrible idea. Year after that, Coach O couldn't make a good hire again. Um, just fell through. We had some injuries. Had some meaningful games. Uh, I can had some really meaningful games, even though we had our worst team in 20 years. But not as bad as Florida State. They lost to Jacksonville. The Jackson, like, exactly. Don't I know LSU played Jacksonville like a few years ago, and those are one of the teams that you schedule late in the season just to get off your bye week and just get the ball rolling again. You know what I'm saying? But you lost to them, and I'm not confident in them. They played, who was it? They played Duquesne in week 0, and this is going to set up my next topic. They played Duquesne in week 0 and beat them 47-7. Okay. Does anybody here know who Duquesne is? The only reason I know who they are is because they offered in basketball Bryce James, LeBron's youngest son. That's it. That is the only reason I know who they are. When I tell you these guys had a horrible offensive line and their quarterback was still able to get the ball out, score. Florida State's offensive line at some points of the game, excuse me, were getting dominated by Duquesne's defensive line. The nose guard for Duquesne at one point, Trey Benson was running a zone read to the left, and number 76, if I am not mistaken, their center for Florida State. When I tell you he got drove back 6 to 8 yards behind the line by Duquesne's nose guard. 6 people got behind that line, but nobody on Duquesne can tackle. Not a single soul can tackle on that defense. And so Florida State had 300-yard rushers. First time in school history, if I'm not mistaken. And I understand that's a great accomplishment. I do. But when you're only able to do that against a Pop Warner team, it's not that it's, to me, I may be wrong. To me, it's not that impressive. Like if somehow, knock on wood, because I don't want it to happen, say they come in and they somehow are able to get that against LSU, that is impressive. Because you got Mason Smith, absolute tank on the defensive line. Jacqueline Roy, absolute animal right there in the trenches. Then on the other side, on the outside, you got Allie Gay. On the other side, you got Mr. 18 himself, BJ Ojolari. That defensive line, they're not nowhere near going to be a pushover like Duquesne. Mason Smith, that when I tell you this dude is built like a grizzly bear, I'm not even trying to over. The dude is an absolute monster, and you, in my mind, you can't go in with the high horse from your performance on Duquesne thinking that it's gonna happen against LSU. You can. And I just if somehow you get past that defensive line, you have Greg Penn, Harold Perkins, Mike Jones at the second level. Our 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 linebackers are so fast, so quick, very agile on their feet, and I feel like that's what's gonna come down to. Now I can say Florida State, they got a wide receiver transfer from uh he transferred, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Where's he at? Johnny Wilson transferred from Arizona State. Dude is 6'7", 235. That's insane. You don't see that just in strictly a wide receiver. Um, he had a couple catches against Duquesne. He's got a very very large reach. He's got a very large wingspan, but he didn't do as great as he should have against Duquesne, against that type of person, that type of team. And I've listened to multiple things on Jordan Travis, Florida State's quarterback, and I'm even them like they're expecting him to mainly use his feet and use the running game because they're not as confident in throwing. And I don't think you can truly have a very successful run game against LSU that's going to have you in your mind confident enough to, oh, we're only going to run the ball. Um, I don't think it's going to be a close one. I think LSU pulls this one out big. Uh, I'm gonna have to go 42-17 LSU. Now, my biggest thing is, all right. So with that is I bring up my next question. For the viewers, for the people in the comments, I have a question. Does week 0 games give an upper hand to the teams that play compared to the teams that don't play week 0? Like all the teams that play week 0 and have that tune-up game, does that give them an advantage over teams who don't play until week 1? And the reason I ask that is because you got where is it? You got Florida State. They had a week 0 game, like we were just talking. Illinois, they had a week 0, and they beat Indiana by 3 only, and they had a whole game to prepare. You can say get the jitters out, and they only won by 3. Um, we all know about the Nebraska Northwestern, Vanderbilt, Hawaii. Like Vanderbilt dropped 63 in week 0. The reason I'm asking this is, does for some reason, where in what way does a week 0 team become more prepared than a team who only plays on week 1? I truly feel like it doesn't help at all. Like if you're not playing a meaningful team, um, if how do I put it? If you're gonna have a week 0 game, right? You want to call it your tune-up game, but you're not gonna play somebody that's on the same caliber as you or tier, mentally, physically. Uh, should it really does that benefit you at all? That's like saying, "All right, I'm gonna go learn to ride my bike." But before I go and learn how to do it on my own, I want you to hold the back of it. Like it doesn't really make sense to me. Yeah, it's week 0. You get to feel good about yourself. Ooh, we beat up on a no name team. But what is that? How does that benefit you and your players? You know, I don't. It doesn't really make a sense to me in calling it tune up games yada yada. But I feel like I don't think it gives you an upper hand. Like I said, Illinois, they had a week 0 game, only beat Indiana by 0. I mean, by 3. I apologize, by 3. Uh, Last night, Florida State played Duquesne. We'll see if that helped at all. I doubt it. Tomorrow, Vanderbilt, they dropped 63 on Hawaii. I'm sorry, Vanderbilt's not going to be good in football ever. So I mean, that gives, I guess it would show false hope, I guess you can say. But I'm gonna go ahead and get over to my next question. Heisman predictions. Now, me and Big Dog Shane were talking about this a couple days ago, and I have my prediction, and I also have my dark horse. And I'm going to explain to you why I call it my dark horse in 1 second. But going into this season, I have CJ Stroud, a quarterback of Ohio State, winning the Heisman, no doubt. He's amazing. His throw power, his IQ, everything's like impeccable. He had some really really great games last year. Granted, he had Garrett Wilson. Uh, One wide receiver. I'm not even gonna try to attempt his name because I know I'm gonna screw it up. My A big thing for me is if he plays against like Michigan State game. Michigan State game last year was in like incredible. Michigan State had been playing great all year, and then coming into the game against Ohio State, they dropped the ball, and CJ Stroud was literally CJ Stroud was just throwing the ball up, and Garrett Wilson and the rest of the Buckeyes were just getting it and scoring at will. But if 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 CJ Stroud does not get it, I think we may see, at least in my lifetime, the first back-to-back Heisman. Um, Bryce Young is still at Alabama, right? He had a really great season last year. I mean, yeah. He doesn't have Mechie or Williams anymore, so I feel like that's a huge blow. Uh, no more Brian Robinson, but they do have Gibbs from Georgia Tech. Hell of a running back. Hell of a running back. He could be a sleeper. He could be a sleeper. But staying on that topic of Alabama, the only reason I'm saying he is my dark horse, it is because it is going to be so hard for him to win this award. because we haven't seen a defensive player get it since Charles Woodson. And my dark horse has got to be Will Anderson. He is the best defensive player in the nation. Point blank, hands down. Don't argue with me, arguing with your mama. Best defensive player in the nation. He's top 2, and he's not number 2. Hands down. He can read an offense. He's all over the field. He's so quick. He hits so hard. He's what you need in somebody that's going to be a general facilitator on your defense. And it's crazy to me. It is truly crazy just how great he is. How just athletic, how talented, how like just he's so intelligent on the field. And that's huge. So huge in crucial games. And I feel like this is gonna be a probably not a down season for Bama, but I don't think it's gonna be like a normal season we see from them. And I think it's time for a defensive player to win the Heisman because it's literally just turned into a damn offensive award. You have to for a running back to get it, you have to be putting up numbers like Christian McCaffrey did to even get a nod and going to New York. Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry. Like we can keep going if you want to. But let's talk about all the notable defensive players that had a great chance of winning the Heisman. We got T-Mac, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. That guy, he is him. Patrick Peterson. Who else? Chase Young. Who else? Jadeveon Clowney. Like, we can keep going. It is not a defensive award, and that is stupid. If all you're going to do is strictly have quarterbacks, why even give the other positions even a thought of them getting it? Why get their hopes up? Because you got them playing their hearts out, putting up amazing stats, breaking records. But at the end of the day, unless they're the ones throwing the ball, they're not going to get the Heisman. It's crazy. It makes no sense. But I feel like if there's any guy that is going to win the Heisman as a defensive player, Will Anderson, point blank and period. College football playoffs. I wanted to do predictions, but past couple of days something big came up. 12-team playoff bracket. I like it. I do. Get more people in, but I'm skeptical. You're gonna have your same 4 to 6 teams, mainly 4 teams every year. It's gonna be in there. It's like you're just gonna have filler teams. Oh, this team's been whining. Just put them in. They're doing decent. Put them against Alabama. Put them against Ohio State. It's a good idea and it's a bad idea, in my opinion. You're gonna have the same teams in there no matter what. You're gonna have teams who get in there because of the ranking system, which we all know that's flawed. You have Notre Dame, who lost their bowl game, at sitting at number 5. Um, where's Clemson at? What are they ranked? 4. Clemson's at 4. Dabo doesn't have his OC no more. Dabo doesn't have Brent Venables anymore. You got to show me you can do it without Brent Venables. But I feel like you're gonna have the same 4 teams you have every year, and then you're just going to have filler teams just to get your teams that you want in there. And but you, at the end of the day, you can say, "Oh, we gave you multiple teams. Everybody had a chance." Come on now. Come on now. You gotta make it. You gotta make it. The math ain't mathing. But I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, and I could eat my words. Now for my predictions for right now, the 4 teams. Um, man, Alabama and Ohio State are going to be in there. You already know. Alabama and Ohio State. Oh, that's so hard. I just don't see Georgia unless Georgia has a season like last year. I don't see a one-loss team getting back in. I I don't see it. Um I feel like it's going to be Ohio State and Bama in the championship regardless. Um Everybody talking about how uh A&M this, A&M that, A&M that. If A&M does not win a national championship this year, and the reason I say this year is that entire team that Jimbo paid for. Yes, I repeat that Jimbo paid for. That entire team is going to hit the transfer portal. Point blank. Don't argue with me, argue with your mama. Jimbo went to the team, they were 8-4. Jimbo is gonna he's still there. They're gonna be 8-4. They're not that good. Jimbo is not him from Florida State when they beat Auburn for the national championship. It's not there. It's just not him. He's not that guy. Um, and he definitely doesn't have somebody like Jameis Winston. He doesn't have a Heisman quarterback. He doesn't have the wide receivers. He doesn't have the DBs. He doesn't have the running backs. He does not have that Florida State team no more. Max Johnson left LSU to go to A&M, and he's sitting the bench. I just if A&M does not win a national championship this year, so many people are just going to hit the transfer portals quick because you're paying all that money. You're showing recruits, oh, we're building something special, number 1 recruiting class, yada yada yada. That's fine. You can have all the recruits in the world if you have nothing to show for it but an 8-4 win streak. I ain't the smartest man alive, but what is that? What is that worth? You know, but I think it's going to come down to Ohio State and Bama. And I feel like whichever team is on has that upper step. And I feel like it's going to come down to, I think having Will Anderson on that Bama defense, like I said, is so huge. And I think that's what's got to take Bama. What has to make me take Bama over Ohio State. Bama doesn't lose 2 years in a row. They don't. And that national championship last year was crazy. But you got to think 2018, Bama loses to Clemson in the national championship. 19, LSU wins it, beats Alabama in the same season. Next year, 2020, Bama wins it. Okay. Last year, Georgia wins it. 3 straight year SEC. I think we go. I think SEC goes on another tail like they did a few years ago when we went like 6-7 years straight of straight SEC championship. I mean, SEC winning a national championship. You can't count Nick Saban out. He is the greatest college coach of all time, and you cannot argue that. Man, that's so hard to think about. But I think having Will Anderson on that defense, Bryce Young coming off his Heisman season, even though they didn't get the gold, they didn't get the championship last year. Heisman season, SEC championship. I think this is Alabama's revenge tour. Alabama, I feel like they might have some slip ups this year. They might, but I have Bama winning the national championship. Them versus Ohio State. Man, thinking of a score prediction is uncanny right now. I think you could say maybe. Hell, I don't even want to get that far. Well, I'll save that for mid-season. I want to see how both of them look. I'll save that for mid-season. So we're gonna end things a little early, just a little bit. I wanna thank y'all for everybody that showed up. Sorry, like I said, Big Dawg AC, he has some personal things going on. I know Big Dog Shane, he's hosting a slow pitch softball tournament back home in Louisiana, and I wanna apologize for me not being on last week, and I was getting over a cold and everything. But hey, I really appreciate y'all sticking around and being patient with us, Sports Empire Network. We got something big shaking, big coming on, and hey, it's week 1. Got some great games today. It's game day, and I can't be more excited. Now I still got one more day. Still got one more day as an LSU fan. Gotta wait, but hey, I appreciate everything. It's a great ride going on, but slow and steady wins the race, for sure. Slow and steady wins the race, and we're almost there. And just want to thank y'all for sticking around, helping us, checking out everything we got, and hey, let's get this. Week 1, college football's back, and I think it's just time to get the ball rolling and see what our team's gonna do. All right, y'all have a good day.